Hi, we're about to start this week's JTA podcast. And before we do, we just wanted to give you a little disclaimer before we start. We were having some audio issues this week. We have a special guest, David. He was with us. The Wi-Fi connection wasn't always the best. I was having some technical issues here. In fact, my Zoom crashed twice during this, and we had to piece together the recording. So we just wanted to let you know it's a little choppy at times, isn't it, Ian?
It is, but most of the stuff that I say is clear, so that's all that really
that's what you think.
All that people really listen for anyway.
Yes, so we just wanted to put that disclaimer right at the start. If you're having audio issues, or you wonder why why it seems a little disjointed at times, we were having some technical issues this week, but we hope that you enjoy.
Yeah, and we will sort it out for next time. So we appreciate all of your support. Thanks for listening. Right, hello and welcome to another episode of the Just Talking About Films podcast. My name is Ian Sargentson.
And my name's Luke Taylor, and it is great to be with you to hang out, to talk about what films we've seen recently. And we've got special guests this week, and of course, we're going to dig in deep on The Batman. When we get to that point, we will highlight it, because we are going to talk about every part of that film. There will be spoilers.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to stop before we get to that part and then re-watch or re-listen, whatever you do, once you've watched it.
Yeah, in a couple of days' time after you've got to the end of it.
We'll have probably released about 9 more episodes by the time you've watched it. So
wonderful. So, Ian, do you want to introduce our guest for today?
Yeah, we've got a friend of mine. We've got Dave, and I was just trying to think before we came on. We met at Arden College, and I started working there, Dave, 20 years ago. So it must be a long time since we've known each other.
And I came along.
Yeah. So we met there maybe 15, 20 years ago, something like that. And
15.
He's been a fan of the show and listens and regularly comments, tells us what he thinks. So we just invited him on because he was really enthusiastic about the Batman when he first saw it. So he's going to come on and he's going to share his thoughts with us. So welcome, Dave. It's great to have you with us.
Hello.
Wonderful. But let's start by where we always start. Ian, what have you been watching this week?
Yeah, so I've watched a fair few films this week. Most of them are rewatches, or some of them, one of them I didn't know it was a rewatch until I thought, I know what's happening here. So the first one I watched was The Batman, but we'll talk about that later. Then I watched Gone Baby Gone, and I thought I hadn't seen it, and I thought I must have seen it because it's quite high profile. It's quite high profile. In the first half, I didn't remember any of it, and then the second half, I was like, "Yeah, I've seen this. I've been here before." So, I enjoyed it. Have you both seen it?
I don't think I have. Remind me what it is.
So it's directed by Ben Affleck. It stars Casey Affleck, and a girl goes missing, and he goes to try and find the little girl. And there's all kinds of twists and turns in it. About life, and I think it's Boston. So he's not a police officer. He's just hired by the family to find this little girl.
I don't think I've seen it. I'm thinking of Run Baby Run.
Yeah, I used to get mixed up, but this is gone. It's good. I think it's well directed by Ben Affleck, and it's well acted by Casey Affleck. I think that's probably the right way around for them.
He's a good actor.
Yeah,
he's a good actor. He was in another film called Sea by Manchester. That's another good film.
Manchester by the Sea, he was good in that. And that's what I'm saying. I think Ben Affleck's better behind the camera and Casey's better in front of it.
They're good comparing with when you got those two actors involved. I know he's good with Matt Damon. Sorry about the distractions. That's just the talk in the background.
It's okay. I watched Gone Baby Gone. I really quite enjoyed it. Even the second time. So, and then I watched The Adam Project on Netflix.
Yes, I watched that this week.
I watched that. This week.
So you've watched it as well, Dave? Yeah.
Yeah, because I only saw it on these social media, and it was suggested by Lewis Hamilton because I'm an F1 fan, as you know, and he said it was a good film. So I thought, that looks good. That looks interesting. So I'll see what that's all about. I enjoyed it. What did you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it's what I thought it was, but I think it had a bit of a nostalgic feel for me. There was a lot of E.T. things in there and Back to the Future feel, especially when he was running through the forest. It was very E.T. when he had his torch going off in the forest out the back of his house, and then even the thing where he found him in the cupboard. And his nods to Back to the Future and other things. I really enjoyed it. I think Ryan Reynolds.
What did you make up the ending?
Ryan Reynolds things.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I thought the kid who played a young Ryan Reynolds was really good and got him and really nailed his attitude very well.
It was really there was some funny lines in it, but I was confused early on because it's what's the mother called?
It's it was Jennifer Garner.
I didn't get her name, but I knew you know.
It's who, Luke?
It was Jennifer Garner, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jennifer Garner.
Something
And
like that,
the dad was
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, and they were in 13 going on 30.
Well, is it a secret sequel?
I don't know. I thought so because they were the parents. I was like, is this their kid from that? So, but yeah, I thought it was good. I thought there was some funny one-liners in there. It was witty, particularly from Ryan Reynolds and younger Ryan Reynolds. And it was kind of well made. It was interesting. It kept me engaged. I liked it.
I thought it was one of those ones. As I was watching, I'm thinking it's a shame this is Netflix because I would have enjoyed this at the cinema on a big screen. I think it felt like, it didn't feel like like sometimes you think of a Netflix film as being somehow lesser. It didn't feel that at all. I really enjoyed it. I don't remember much about it now, but I enjoyed it.
No, it was entertaining, and it did what it set out to do. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was well made. It looked good. So yeah, well, I'm not sure I'll buy it, but I'll watch it again sometime.
Yeah.
Then I watched Promising Young Woman because I think I've put it off for a while because it's one of the ones that it wasn't how I perceived it would be. I knew it had a strong message, and it was a bit of a social commentary, and there was, the subject matter was difficult, but it's not the film I thought it was. It's not as, it is hard hitting, but it's not as, we're going to preach to you. It was well done in the midst of a film, I think. Effective
ending as well.
Yeah, very effective. I did not expect that, and I thought it was very clever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because even when the ending was coming to its conclusion, I was thinking, no, there's a terrible injustice. But yeah, it was clever. Have you seen it, Dave?
No, I haven't, but it sounds good though. What's that called again?
Promising Young Woman. Yeah, it's good. I say it's a tricky subject matter, I think, and it was kind of speaking into the situation that happened in America a few years ago, and where the guy that was being defended was called a promising young man, wasn't he? So I think that was the switch on that. But yeah,
was Carey Mulligan is very, very good in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was some good acting in it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. And then the last two that I've watched, and carrying on watching Marvel in order, was Iron Man 2, which was terrible.
Yeah.
It's just the first one was so promising. The second one, it's just a weak story. It tries to be too funny. It's boring. So I didn't like it, and it suffers because I'm holding it up to the first one. But the first one was so promising and did most things right that this one was poor. And then last night I watched The Incredible Hulk, which I enjoyed. I mean, it was a bit stupid. Two monsters fighting at the end. I could have done without that, but it as an origin movie or something in terms of into the universe, introducing Hulk, I think it worked well. I think
Edward Norton's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. I like it because he is so opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then Lou Ferrigno was in there as a cameo. So yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. I almost watched Inspector Gadget, but I went for The Incredible Hulk instead.
I think you probably chose the right film there.
Yeah, I think I probably did.
I do as well, yeah.
I wanted to see if Inspector Gadget was as bad as I remember, but...
Oh, I think it might be.
Is that the Matthew Bradford one?
Yeah. Dear me.
Sorry about distractions.
It's all right. So that's what I've been watching.
Great.
Okay.
Do you want to go next, Dave?
Sorry.
Dave, have you been watching anything interesting?
Well, that film you just mentioned before, the Adams Project, that was the one I definitely saw. I thought that was really good. It just that one that really surprised me because I saw the trailers of it and then I saw the advertisement in it. And when I was watching, I thought, yeah, this looks good. But it also reminded me of I don't know if you remember, but sorry. But it also reminded me. Do you remember that film called The Disney Kid with Bruce Willis?
Oh yeah, the kid.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, the kid.
that.
Yeah.
That film just reminded me of that little bit. Do you know when they was doing, the father, what the man and the younger version himself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That just reminded me of that when I was watching it. And I was seeing the story unfolding, like setting up as what it was to do. I was just totally blown with it. I liked the end as well because I thought that was really, very touching.
Yeah, it was. There was some feels in there, wasn't there?
Yeah,
there
was. I like the idea of he goes back and meets his younger self, and it's like, man, I hate myself back then.
Yeah. He just bullies himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like
so bitter.
The story just like twists and turns. I mean, I thought I was doing that a lot, and the way it just was made, it's on both sides. 1 minute it's on the younger side, then it's the older side, and there was like lessons and all sorts that would just really, really surprised me when I was watching along because it really intrigued me because I thought, yeah, this is going the right way. Then saying, oh no, we're going to send tables and do this sort of thing. Is that what you saw?
Yeah. I thought.
I thought so because I know everyone can have different visions on films, and sometimes you can say like, no, that didn't happen, but that's what I saw. And
yeah, but it's all about what you thought. You know, so I liked it. I was a bit disturbed when he punched his own dad, but I didn't see that coming. I was like, oh. Yeah. Anything else you've watched of note?
Actually, I've done some rewatching because I like to rewatch films because I rewatched Rocky 3 the other night. I like Rocky 3.
Yeah. Clubber Lang.
Yep. Yeah, Clubber Lang. I mean, I think that film's really always have a good story. I mean, it's like Rocky is Rocky, isn't he?
Yeah. Clubber, do you have any predictions for the fight? Pain. I love it. Well, poor Mickey.
I used to cry on that bit when he dies because when I first saw Rocky 3, because I grew up watching the Rocky films, and when the first time I saw Mickey died, I thought, no, I was crying my eyes out. Mm-hmm. And obviously nowadays I'm just like, oh yeah, he's passed away, and I don't get so much emotional. I don't cry that much, but when I first saw that film, because I saw like Rocky 4 first, then I saw Rocky 2, then Rocky 1, and Rocky 3 was the middle one, and started on the order. I thought, no, I can't believe he's died. And I was just crying my eyes out. Every time I used to watch Rocky 3, I used to cry my eyes out all the time. Then when I got older and older, just not that much.
Oh, I think I still cry, and I'm pretty sure Luke does. He cries at everything.
That's not
very
true.
good.
On most things, not everything.
Thanks, Dave. What about you, Luke?
This week, first of all, there was the Adam Project as well. I guess that's been a good week for that film.
Yeah.
Then I rewatched The Founder.
I like that. I watched it recently.
Yeah, I think Michael Keaton's very good in it. It's one of those films that gets you angry though, because it seems like the original idea for McDonald's was such a good idea, and you see him systematically ruin it and then steal it, and it's just you get proper angry.
Yeah, he stole it. I mean, he made it a success. I mean, it wouldn't be what it is without him, but I don't know. People have different opinions whether that's good or bad, but yeah, he stole it. There's no question.
Yeah, it's when he goes for the powdered milkshake, you go, this guy, this guy.
On a technicality as well, but it is well-made film, good acting, great script. Really liked it.
Yeah, very good film. So I enjoyed that. Then I watched the new Pixar film, Turning Red.
Yeah, Kate's watched that. I mean, it doesn't really float my boat, but I'll give it a watch.
It's interesting. It's interesting. We got to the end of it, and both me and Amelia were kind of like, who was that for?
It's about puberty, isn't it?
It is, but you feel like for younger kids, they're not going to get half of it. for kids who are going through puberty in that age, I was like, would they really want to watch this? So, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. I think it's one of the best films Pixar's made in a few years. Now, admittedly, the past few years haven't been the best, but it hits the emotional notes well. It's fun. It's definitely different in style. It feels like they're trying to get a little bit more. It's 3D, but it feels 2D, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of I like the animation style. I thought it was interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I think I enjoyed it. It's one of those films you get to the end, did I enjoy that? Well, I think I did. I did.
Yeah. Kate's watched it. She thought it was all right.
Yeah, it was okay. I think it's one of Pixar's better films in the past few years.
Doesn't say a lot though, does it?
No, they haven't done. I mean, Luca was hardly prime Pixar, was it? But yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
I preferred Luca to. What was the one came after Luca?
I don't remember now.
Oh, maybe. So I didn't mind Luca. I didn't hate it, but yeah.
So anyway, that was that. And then I rewatched again Goodfellas.
Oh, what film!
Yeah. It's epic. It's long, but it's so good. It is so good.
Is it violent enough for you?
Yeah, just about. It is. I mean, it does. It takes you aback every time you watch it. How violent it is. But I find the story of that gangster life is very fascinating. It's a completely different morality, a completely different way of living, and it's fascinating to think that's how some people grew up. And it's that bit at the start goes for as far back as I remember. I always wanted to be a gangster. And he aspired to it, and this community where everybody aspires to be like that. And there was bits where, I mean, when he's introducing, is it Paulie who's the boss? And he's having it, and there was a moment where I was just thinking, they look cool, but they're actually just sat in a backyard. The lifestyle's not that much different to everybody else's at that point. They have money, and I think it's a fascinating film, and I think it's a great final shot of Ray Liotta. In the ordinary suburbs, just living like one of us, and the idea, that he looks like one of us, but he isn't one of us. It's a good film.
As you say, it's one of the things that's always fascinated me. It was the same with The Sopranos and different things. These incredibly violent people that do incredibly shady things, but they have a sense of morality, and it's not consistent. They're not, they don't whack everybody. It's all about people have disrespected them or have done something on their turf, or it's not, because I think over the years it has been romanticized. And I've never thought that. I've never thought, oh, I really want that. But it's always been something that I've been fascinated by. How does that work, and how do you get that code of conduct? And it's good. Good film. I like it. I think it's very good. And the camera work on it, I think it's stunning. So yeah, that's Goodfellas. Great film. And then of course last night, because it had just come back out, I rewatched Spider-Man No Way Home. But we've talked about that enough. Yeah, did you pay?
I bought it. Yeah, it came out to buy yesterday. Yeah, digital. Yeah, that's how I seem to buy things now. I get them on iTunes, and works well with the Apple TV. It's that seems to. I haven't bought a DVD or a Blu-ray in a long time.
I still buy them.
In fact, we've got rid of all of them now. No more shelf space.
So where do you save them all? Just like into the cloud?
Yeah. In fact, that's I just buy everything digital now. Plus, everything that's older seems pretty much available. Yeah. Anything that isn't available easily, we've still got.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Good. So shall we? So just a couple of questions for you, Dave. We normally go into. We have a list of questions. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions just because we want to get in to talk about the Batman. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. That's why Luke's here this week. So, Dave, tell us what your favourite film is.
Sorry, say it again.
So what's your favourite film?
Favourite film? Oh, there's loads.
Just give us one.
Favourite film? Just give us one. Okay, I'm just going to have this debate all the time, my favourite film, because I'm two favourite films, but I'll go for the main one that really, that's close to my heart. That is Casino Royale. Casino Royale.
Which
Casino
one?
Royale.
The Daniel Craig one.
What?
The Daniel Craig one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Daniel Craig one. I think that film has blown out the Bond films, because I know every Bond film was good. You've got like Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, and I think the same director who did Casino Royale did GoldenEye, because I'm a Bond fan also.
Mm-hmm.
And this one it felt beautiful, because the structure of the film is nice. It's very exotic. The characters are well fleshed, and you just really care about the characters and the storyline. And for Daniel Craig as Bond, it's just like a big thumbs up for being Bond. And it's the only Bond film that really turns the Bond films upside down, where you've got the gadgets and actually we got no gadgets because you got the phone only. And I thought that was just really out the box, really. Then there's that line in the film where someone asks him, saying like, "Do you want a vodka martini?" And shaking not dead, and he goes like, "Do I look like give a damn?" I thought that was out the box, because every Bond film is just like vodka martini, shaking not dead. But with that one, it's like, oh yeah, do I really give a damn about that? But yeah, it's just one of the best films ever. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I thought it brought Bond up to date, polished it, and yeah, I think Daniel Craig really brought something new to it, a bit more. I don't know, I could invest in him a bit more. Before, he'd always been a bit posh and a bit proper, I think. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Daniel Craig made him seem a bit more rugged.
Yeah, he did. It's a good film. It's it changed Bond, and I don't think Bond could ever go back to what it was now.
No.
What it was before that, because Bond had gotten a proper rut. I think the Brosnan films are okay, but by the end, it felt like it didn't know what it was anymore. I think it needed Casino Royale to give it that new lease of life.
Yeah, and I think it didn't care, did it? It was like, it's Bond, everyone will watch it, and you got to have these elements to Bond, where this brought more elements. It looked good, it looked slick, it looked aesthetically, it was just far better than anything else I'd seen before.
Yeah,
and the storyline was good, the cast was good. Yeah, it looks good. I like it, and most of the Daniel Craig Bonds I like because of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best one out of the Craig films. The rest of the Bond films are just. The rest of the Craig Bond films are okay. I didn't like No Time to Die. I didn't like the ending. It was just so meh, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've done that. Luke and I disagreed on that. Okay, so that's one of your favourite films. What's a film that you remember from when you were younger that you used to watch over and over again?
Oh, good question. I would say the film I was watching younger. Good question. Let's say I'm going to say Batman. I mean, not just for the Batman we're doing, but it's just Batman, because I was a young kid. It was like some Ghostbusters or Batman, but I think I was more so glued to Batman.
So the 1989 Batman.
It'll be 89 Batman. I know Ian didn't like that one, and
I did not.
That's okay. Ian's wrong. That's fine.
Right. Well, that gives us a good link into talking about the Batman then, if that was one of the films you're watching, Luke. So we've all seen it now. We've all seen it once, yeah? Because I know you two were threatening to both go see it again, but you didn't have the spare 2 days to do that.
I couldn't clear my diary.
I think we clear on that one.
Okay, so I mean, I'm quite happy for whoever wants to go first to tell us what they thought about it.
Okay. Do you want to start, Luke?
Yeah. The more
we dabbled last week, but tell us what your thoughts are, Luke.
the more I'm thinking about it, the more I like it, but the more I'm disappointed by the end. I still think, and this is my this might have been a worse film, so just let me pitch you for a moment. But the whole bit where there's the flood at the end, there's the boom, 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 and the wall comes down. The water comes down. To me, felt like a different type of superhero film than what this was. It felt like a superhero film. This didn't feel like it was a superhero film, and it felt out of place to me. The big thing with everybody running Gotham Square Gardens, which doesn't make any sense, by the way. You can't get a whole city to go to one place. It's just they wouldn't fit. And then the start, and I kind of wonder whether a scarier and more in keeping ending with that film. And I'm guessing Americans didn't really want to go this route. But those guys up in the rafters with the guns, they didn't need a flood to start picking people off.
No.
And that would have in some ways been more shocking. That if they were just doing the sort of things that people like that do, that I know it brings back to things like, the Las Vegas shootings, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But actually, that would have felt more in keeping with the tone of the film to me. No flood, just a mass shooting where there's the panic and maybe, that he has to rescue people in some way. So you need something. The flood to me was just a step too far.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Because I really one of the things. Go on, Dave.
Well, I was going to say, when I saw the flood bit in Batman, and I just thought, please don't go with the Bond formula where, we saw Bond dying at the end of the film or something like that, because I was a little bit worried in that, but I'm glad it didn't go for that. It just went for saving, I'm just trying to think when he was saving the youngsters and that, which is quite good.
And that stuff really worked. And I think you could have done that without the flood, just in a different way.
For me, I like the way that the film did dig into, Batman. He was often described, I think, in the comics as the world's greatest detective.
Yes.
And it really dug into that and used that. And then this bit kind of shifted away from that. It felt like a patch on a detective film, and I was like, oh, we've got to have this, as you say, Luke, this superhero bit. Whereas if you said there was shootings or snipers or something, it would have tied into it more. He's having to find out who's doing it, where they're from, etc. But that is one of my only two issues with the film. I think the final act was a bit messy. I didn't think it needed to be that grand. I think there was a natural point before that, or it could have finished differently.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want that to take away from the fact that I think it's the closest I've felt watching a Batman film to reading a Batman graphic novel. I remember the first time I read The Long Halloween, which, by the way, is brilliant, worth reading. The story just captured me straight away. I was hooked. I planned on reading it over the course of a week, and I read it in a night. And it felt like that. That's a great one with Batman being a detective and interacting with. And I liked how it wasn't in any way the villain's story. And that's a problem Batman films often have. Batman Returns is really about Catwoman and the Penguin, and Batman's a guest star. But I like that the Riddler was in the background all the time. He's this threat, but it's not his story. I think that's good.
It was cleverly made. I must admit that I must confess it was really clever, and particularly with the Riddler and the Penguin, that was well done, better than Batman Returns and Batman Forever. Mainly Batman Forever, we got the Riddler, and he's like, in Batman's face, and where that's done really more, I don't know, like a 1966 Batman film. It was like over the top, and you got like all these puzzles that was like didn't make sense, or Riddler's doing this or Riddler's doing that, and etc. But this one's like, we're going to do this way. We're going to put saw bits in it. We're going to do it this way. This is more realistic. Batman Forever's out of the way. I really like that. And Penguin, that was more grounded, because did you know that was Colin Farrell?
Yeah, I forgot all about it till afterwards.
Yeah, it's Very,
I did
very
not
good.
know myself, but when I was like checking the interviews and the actors who played too, that was Colin Farrell who played the Penguin, and that was grounded because I thought in Batman Returns, which you've both seen, haven't you?
Yeah.
I thought the Penguin was more grittier and more better. I thought he was more so Penguin in this one because it looked as though it really didn't know what it was doing in this film, and it just looked as though it had a plot, it had a meaning, and I think in the comics that's the Penguin that you see in the comics, and that really nails. I'm not much a comic person, but I just like the Batman films. But I just liked it because I know certain bits from the comics, and then even though I'm not like 100% on comics, I just like bits on Batman, and I read a certain amount of them. But that just nailed it in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I liked. It felt like it was a Batman film that was, or it feels like that is set in.
Yeah.
It could be set in any city in America. Do you know, in Gotham? And I know it was loosely based on New York in the beginning, but it felt like it was happening. Do you know what I mean? Like the Penguin wasn't someone that had with penguin features per se. He just was something like he walked like a penguin, and so it was like that. And the same with Carmine and all of them. Really, there was a more real feel to them. And I think I was listening to an interview with the director.
Type in it.
Yeah, and I was listening to an interview with the director. What's his name?
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. And he was saying about how when I really liked this, and I really got the thing that he was saying that the Riddler and Batman are both. That what was he saying? Trauma can lead to heroes or villains, and their experiences growing up as orphans had led to that. And I really liked that it was that there was two sides to that story, that they've experienced something similar and gone different ways. And I really liked, and we talked about last week, Luke, that how deluded the Riddler was until the point when Batman said, "I'm not working with you."
Yeah, that scene is so good because up until that point, you think he's worked out who Batman is.
Yeah,
and he's
you do.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
and you think, how was he going to get out of this? How was he going to? And that whole time, and you can the acting in that bit where and again, Robert Pattinson. I know you had issues with him as Bruce Wayne, but in that scene, he doesn't move. He doesn't say anything, but you can see everything he's thinking at that moment. And the relief when he realizes.
I thought that.
Yeah. It's a good bit of acting, that.
Did you know how?
Sorry,
Dave. Sorry, I was going to say, did you notice how tormented Batman was in this film? Like, because he's got like Penguin on his back, then he's got the Riddler on his back just constantly. Could you see in his own eyes, in Batman's eyes, how tormented he was? Because at half time I was looking, I was thinking, is Batman freaking okay?
Is he all right? Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the major strengths of it. It really spoke of, probably more than any other of the Batman films, of how tortured Bruce Wayne was about the death of his parents, and how he doesn't join him all right and have it sorted. And also the guilt that Alfred feels about that he can't be a father to him. He can teach him how to fight.
I thought Andy Serkis played well as Alfred. I thought Andy Serkis was good in this film. I was more surprised that he was in this film because I did not know he was in it, because I heard rumours that he was in it, but I wasn't sure to believe it or not. But when I saw it on the big screen, I thought, wow, I'm in for a treat here. He's a good actor. He was in Lord of the Rings and played Gollum, etc. And when I saw him in this film, I thought, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. And he just nailed it.
I think the casting was very good throughout the film. I had issues with Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, but I don't know if that's because of his acting. I think it might be because of the writing. But I think from the film, Reeves might agree with me because he's in the suit for about 80% of it, isn't he?
He is, but I think it's taken Bruce Wayne on that journey. We're going to see him develop as a person now. We're going to see him become more of a person. I think that's an interesting way, because we've always met Bruce Wayne as pretty much a fully formed Bruce Wayne, I mean, it's always been the development of Batman's been his coping mechanism, but now I think he's going to have to find other ways to be a person and other ways to influence the city. You know what? When he was speaking to the mayor, and she's like, you really should be doing more. Or the person, and I think that's what we're going to see as him developing. There's other ways I can help than being Batman.
Yeah, but I mean, he isn't Batman yet, is he?
No,
He's still going around calling himself Vengeance.
He calls him the Vengeance in this film. I mean, that was the good twist to it, because like Casino Royale, whereas that's like twisted Bond films, don't it?
Yeah.
That can twist the Bond formula. It was like with this one, the Batman, that felt like it was twisting the formula a bit on the Batman, because he calls himself the Vengeance. You don't hear him saying I'm Batman, or even though he looks like Batman and he acts like Batman and he is Batman, but
I mean, other people call him Batman. It's just he hasn't accepted that part of himself yet, I guess.
And I think to draw the parallels there, Dave, with Bond, it is like in Casino Royale. You know who he is, you know who he becomes, and he becomes a character that we're familiar with. But you see the bits like even with the vodka martini, we know that's his catchphrase. But he's gone, "Do I look like I care?" Do you know what I mean? And then, but ultimately, we know he will. So it's a thing in it. And the same with this, we know who he's going to become, but he hasn't accepted what people are saying of him. He dresses like that. Even the stuff like that I really liked was that his car doesn't work properly, and it's like just a souped up thing. It's not this perfectly tuned Batmobile. It's just like a car that he stuck a massive jet on the back of, and then his batarang, where it's just stuck to his chest, and he uses it to cut police tape. Yeah. He's not where we used to see him throw and it comes back. It's none of that. He just cuts his way through a police cordon. That was clever.
Which is very good. It's a very good use of it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like he's just figuring out how to do it. So his mask's bought off eBay or something. He's penciling his own eyes in. Do you know what I mean? He's got this thing that he's used to cut. So it's all there. You can see the shoots of what we know to be Batman, but he's just coming to it. And the evolution of his he's compartmentalized his feelings for so long until Alfred's in trouble, then he engages them again, and he's not felt that since his parents passed. So it's like we see that, and then he starts having positive feelings towards people as well.
Yeah.
I think can I just run something by you? Say what, Dave?
I think this Batman in this year too, if I'm not mistaken, because this is the other thing, because when I before went into this film, I had zero expectations. I didn't listen to the reviews or anything, because I just thought I don't know what to expect with this Batman film, except from it could be like the other Batmans, like Batman versus Superman or the Justice League, that were terrible. But I went into this film and just being totally blown away, and it was only after the film I saw the film when I started looking at the reviews and interviews. Most of the reviewers who've seen the film, the critics, they always like saying, "Oh, this is Batman in this year too," and I think that's explaining it, because like what you're saying now is it's like he's just becoming Batman. If you get me?
Yeah, and I like that, and I like the way that Commissioner, who we know is going to be Commissioner Gordon, is Lieutenant at the moment, and I like that. But I was talking to a friend of ours, a friend of the podcast, Ollie, and we both thought early on that, the guy with the gang who was in the initiation, he's got half his face painted at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you remember it? Where the
gang he beats up right at the start.
Yeah, they're going to beat that fella at the start, and then Batman takes about 20 minutes to walk in. You can hear his footsteps. Yeah. But there was one lad who was his initiation. He had half his face painted.
Yeah.
They focus on him too long to be irrelevant. I think that's Robin.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the new Robin, and Ollie said the same. So I felt confident enough to share it, whereas before I was like, is this just wishful thinking? But there was a focus on him, and he ran off. So it might be nothing. He might just run off, but because he was half there and he's seen Batman up close, I think, he might be one of our new characters. It didn't tell us his name, but I think his name's probably Robin.
Well, there is a sequel to this film. I know there's a sequel.
Well, he signed up for 3, hasn't he, Pattinson?
Has he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a trilogy. So it could be like, it could lead into something like, because there's some hints in this film that I just saw, because there's like hints at the start of the film, like you just said. And there's hints at the end of the film where there's the Arkham Asylum, where I think the Riddler's in the Arkham Asylum, and he's talking to another villain. And I know this is going to be like spoilers if we're going to see this, but there's another villain in the Arkham Asylum that he's talking to, and I think that's the Joker.
It is the Joker, isn't it? Because he was laughing and giggling when he said a friend.
Yeah.
But it's not, as far as I'm aware, it's not Joaquin Phoenix, is it?
No, it's Barry. I can't pronounce his surname. You know, in Eternals.
Eternals,
the Irish one.
Yeah.
The one who's a bit grumpy and spends. He's like, "Oh, I'm just going to get away from humanity," and he goes into the woods.
Yeah.
Him.
Right. So because I just assumed they'd put Joaquin Phoenix in there, but no.
Yeah. Although that was in the 70s, he'd be like 70 by the time.
Yeah. So so there's lots of things there, but it apparently signed up for 3, so it'll be a trilogy like Dark Knight. And I'm at first, like a few weeks ago, I was saying to you, Luke, I don't even know why they're making this, but I'm excited about the prospect of 2 more.
Yeah.
Because the film is in that direction, and that's the good thing about it. Because even when I was like watching the film, and I was like just like about must be like the half the film or halfway, I was thinking, they nailed this. They nailed this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just totally blown away.
I think as well, if you compare it to the Nolan films, I mean, The Dark Knight is the film. Batman Begins is okay, but it is nowhere near the level of The Dark Knight. And you think, if he can make the same leap from this to his next one that Nolan made between those first 2, I think we're in for a really, really good second film.
Well, I was saying to you, Luke, I don't know why they're making it. They'll get nowhere near the Nolan films. 5 minutes in, because I went into it going, if this is rubbish, then I'll feel justified. 5 minutes in, I knew I was going to enjoy it. I just knew. Just even that bit, even though it was, even though it was a bit indulgent, that bit where they're trying to beat that fella up, and you just hear the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Far too many, and then he comes out the shadows, and then the action scene there. I was like, I like this, and I do like how unpolished it was. I like how unpolished the Riddler was. He had like bin bags on his face, and do you know what I mean? Like how unpolished Batman was, as we say, with his DIY costumes and up at the back, like it was just gone into the back of Wayne Manor, and it was just open. It wasn't a cave or anything particularly. So I like that because there's so much for it to go into. They can develop, like Paul Dano, I think was brilliant as Riddler, could develop that character, and now he's got an alliance with the Joker. But I love this in the same way that I liked Logan, that it was a film, a superhero film that was grounded in reality for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If this was to be real, if there was a vigilante man, detective kind of figure going around, this is what it looked like.
Yes, that bit where we say he's walking for ages, and it is funny how long he's walking for. But when he finally comes out of the shadows, you do go, that's a guy dressed up as a bat.
Yeah.
It's like he's just this walking along. That's just a normal guy in a bat costume.
Even the twins, I liked it. Like even a little bit of humor in it. There weren't too many. You know, when he goes as Batman, and he goes, "Do you know who I am?" And he goes, "Yeah," and he goes as Bruce Wayne. "Do you know who I am?" And he's got the thing on his nose. He's got the plaster on his nose. It's like, So I mean,
so grounded.
Say what?
I was going to say it was so grounded in a nightclub where he was interrogating Falcone a few times, where he'd done like Bruce Wayne to the Batman, and then he just goes like, "Oh, sorry, I'm going to go through the window and just making me entrance that way because I can't be bothered going through the doorway."
Yeah, I mean, so the things I didn't like was the ending that we talked about. I thought was a bit messy, and it didn't really fit in with the context of the rest of the film, but that's slight. And although I like the storyline of Catwoman, I didn't really like the character.
I thought the film slowed it down on that one, if I have to be honest. I mean, the whole story's good, but I think the Catwoman, the woman, that really did slow the film down, because I thought it is a good film, but I didn't mind some bits. But when I just go the opposite way, I thought, why slow the film down? It's getting good.
I like the way it linked in. I like the way it linked in with her parentage and stuff, but I could have done without the character. You know, I mean, wouldn't have minded if it was just some girl he met and she saw her being bullied in there. But they're trying to bring old characters in a new, fresh interpretation, so I didn't mind it too much.
And plus, it gives him somebody to talk to.
Yeah, true.
He does need someone to talk to, and someone to. bounce the plot off in a sense. I think it would have been a struggle, especially once Alfred is in hospital.
Yeah.
It would be a struggle otherwise.
But yeah, I mean, they're the two things that I thought, oh, but overall, I've really, really enjoyed it. And it's one of them films, and there's a few of them where the longer it goes on, the more I think about it, the more I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't often go to the cinema. I think I've been to the cinema to rewatch a film maybe 3 times in my life, and I considered it with this. I just didn't have the time. I don't have a spare 3 hours.
That's the problem.
I'm moving house on Wednesday. So
I'd have seen it again if it wasn't for the fact that it's really hard to find the time to fit it in.
But I'll be buying it and I'll watch it again straight away as soon as I've bought it and all that.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I'll do the same because it's a good film, but there's some certain bits in the film that just probably need to be really looked at again in a good way, because the film is good, no doubt about that. But yeah, there's just some bits that you might just miss, and you thought, oh, did that really explain that why that happened?
I thought the car scene, the car chase as well, was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. That
was mental.
That was what?
Down Penguin.
Yeah.
That was mental when he was chasing down Penguin.
Well, I thought, if you've got a car like that, why are you riding a bike so much?
Just because he hadn't finished it yet, I don't think.
Sorry, Luke, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, so question to both of you. Where would you go next?
Where would I go next?
Where would we go next?
Where would you take the second film?
Oh, Batman film,
I think we need to see a development of Bruce Wayne, because whatever you think, and I know there's been different interpretations, and my interpretation of Bruce Wayne, my favorite, is Bale, because I see him as this playboy, philanthropist. Do you know what I mean? That's his facade, is just this, because it's so different to someone skulking around in the night. So I think Bale does that really well. Keaton played a bit more wacky and a bit more ditzy, but I like the Bale thing with the tuxedos and all the parties and all the drinks, and totally flamboyant, bit almost Tony Starkish, really. But I think we need to see the development of that side of his character, and then I guess the more professionalization of the Batman. So becoming a bit more polished, but he needs to work on himself, on his emotions. Yeah, but I don't know what I'd do, because obviously it's led us up with a Riddler Joker teaser.
It is, although I would wait another film to do that. Maybe have them bubbling in the background.
Keep them in prison.
Maybe even have them, occasionally referred to. Maybe they escape during the film or something. But I wouldn't go straight to the Joker, I don't think, at this point. I'll tell you what, I was thinking just this way. Again, this comes from the comic book, so sorry about this.
Sorry.
But there was a series of comics where they really investigated something called the Court of Owls, which was this secret society of rich people in Gotham who are pulling the strings behind everything, kind of thing. And I think because they developed this sort of, this idea of him being a privileged rich person, I think the idea of bringing in, that actually most of the problems in the city are caused by these wealthy people who are controlling everything.
The Waynes and the Arkhams.
Yeah, and even to develop that, the Waynes and the Arkhams a bit more, and to go into this idea that actually, because there's something that feels a little funny nowadays, or not funny, but not great nowadays, about a rich guy beating up poor people,
Yeah.
But him to come against the city's elite and the rich people who are the real problem, I think it'd be an interesting way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, so develop that. And there's also obviously the hint that his mother had some kinds of issues as well, that they were trying to cover up. So, yeah, I mean, but there is other villains. Batman had other villains, didn't he? So,
yeah. I
like the way that it normalizes them. So the Penguin wasn't some, Penguin featured someone who fell into a vat of penguin juice or something. He was just someone who had penguin features. So I'm hoping for the same for the Joker, a bit more like the Joaquin Phoenix thing, that he was a normal person that was unhinged because of bullying or whatever.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be good, but I think they need to be restrained with the next one. It would be so tempting to do a Joker film, but it would. I think we want to see Bruce Wayne's journey a bit more first.
Yeah, they haven't announced it for certain yet, but I know that Robert Pattinson signed up for 3 films.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm looking forward to it.
But Joker is probably the role I would least want in the world right now. You know, you've got with the legacy that's been created. Not so much with Suicide Squad and whatever it is. Is it Suicide Squad? No, Justice.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, Jared Leto, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So not so much that, but with Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be following them, although it is a benchmark, I suppose.
Yeah, and if the actor's good, that's the main thing, because there's so many invitations. I know WB have this rule where they got an actor who plays Batman or the Joker or someone, and particularly if they're very high standard, they can also they can drop it in and put in a new actor in, and that's like saying, why did you do that? And but if they got the formula and they got the imitation of Batman, and they know what to do, and they know what they're going to do with the next Batman film, I can see them going for another good story and another good actors, or maybe just keep the actors who they already planned to have in. Because if they keep the same actors in and they got the same vision that they started from the start of the film, I think they could be in a better position rather than bringing someone new in. Because as a Batman fan, I always like the same actors in the film because I know who they are, and it's always a problem when they bring a new actor in, because there's always certain response from the social media and then the Batman world, and it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But as long as they don't go for a multiverse, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think I can agree on that one.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they say. I mean, I think it's been well received. I've not read a poor review yet, I think. So that's 2 good films, a good Spider-Man, a good Batman film we've had. We just need a Superman one now.
Yeah. I'm more surprised seeing how the comic book films come more good again, because for years, since the normal films, there's never been one good comic book film, whether it be in DC or Marvel. But all of a sudden, it's come out to nowhere where they are good. And I know the Superman, not Superman, the Spider-Man and the Batman are more good again, which is more valuable for once. I mean, if the Batman and the Batman and the Spider-Man was poor, and we was we were sitting there watching, particularly the new Batman, and we were thinking, oh God, why do we bother watching this again? It was going to be the same as the usual it does. But thankfully it wasn't. It was just more good. And with the next step with Batman, for my opinion, I want to see Bruce Wayne more like what you said, more playboy Bruce Wayne, more adventurous, more fun side. I mean, because the Bruce Wayne we saw in the previous Batman was more miserable. He's figuring out what to do himself. But in the next Batman films, I would like to see more confident that he's more Bruce Wayne. He's more Batman. He's more on top of things. Maybe a little bit making more few mistakes, but exactly the way he should be. Because he could be the next Christian Bale Batman, because that Batman's more nailed and more grounded, more high standard sort of thing. And yeah, that's why I would like to see what the next Batman films go. But I have no idea, but that's what I think.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I like the way they reimagined it. I was worried that it was just going to be a story that we're all familiar with, but it was different enough. Yeah. It was different enough to keep me engaged, different enough to keep me excited about what comes next, rather than going, they've just done the same thing. It was different. It was different enough that they can sit alongside each other and I could watch either. Do you know what I mean? Of the Nolan ones. Yeah. And that's the thing for me, is I've said to you all along, Luke, about superhero films. that there's too many of them that are too, and I get it, why, but they're family films.
Mm-hmm.
I want a film that is based in reality. Same with Logan, the same as Dark Knight trilogy did that a bit. It was a bit more far-fetched than this one, but this does that. It really sets it in. And the detective stuff, like he's learning things, and you know that Alfred's had an influence on that because it showed you Alfred was getting involved with, or do this, and what about this, and that's it. So you know that he's learned that from him and not from his dad, because obviously he had no dad. So it's like you can see Alfred's influence on him there, the military side of that. So that it's not just all batarangs and Batmobiles. He is a detective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good film.
And I did like when, the way, even the bit where they didn't want him there, the police were like, they're treating him as some kind of freak.
To bring him?
And then when they saw Bruce Wayne, the same cop was like, Mr. Wayne.
Are you crazy?
Yeah. I like how Bruce Wayne is proper famous in this one.
Did you notice though the kind of? Sorry, you go first, Luke.
I just I love how he's so famous. He can't go anywhere without people. It's Bruce Wayne. You know, he's kind of like his local celebrity kind of thing, which I quite like because he you know, he doesn't want that at all. You know, just this guy who everybody knows for being rich, and I like the way they played how the city reacted to him every time they saw him.
Yeah. Right, well, I mean, that was a good chat, that, gents.
Yeah, it was. What about you guys who were watching at home? What did you think of the Batman? I hope. Oh, we forgot to say we were about to enter spoiler territory, but we did it at the beginning, so it should be all right. What did you think? Let us know. You can tweet us, you can Facebook us, you can comment on our YouTube. Let us know what you thought of the Batman. And what you think could happen next.
Let us know your best bits, your favourite bits, what was good, what was bad. And like Luke asked, where do you think it's going to go next? What would you like to see? So if you were in charge of making the next one, where would you develop it from this? I mean, I think it's clear from us three that we all enjoyed it. We were all intrigued and engaged, even with the 3-hour runtime, which we've mentioned. And it is a long film. It's a long time to sit still, particularly in today's day and age. But I was engaged throughout, and I look forward to another 3-hour installment.
Yeah, me too. I only had to do 2 toilet breaks. That's not so bad.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't do any. I had water there and I didn't drink it till the last act. So well, Dave, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your input into the podcast today, and we look forward to seeing you sometime in the future.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.